Hello and welcome to The Quick Fix. This is your host, Kirsten Oliphant, and this is your mini bite-sized podcast from Creative Writing for you, a writer, blogger, or creative wanting to build an online platform without being smarmy. So here are some tools, links, and resources for you today.
One by one the stars are disappearing from the horizon. I can't close my eyes, but it won't.
Hello and welcome to what I'm going to call the spring break edition of The Quick Fix, which may mean screaming, laughing, crying, probably crying, slamming doors in the background. I'm trying to record this in the afternoon. My husband has everybody outside, but spring break, woohoo! Anyone watch Arrested Development? You got to just mention Arrested Development when you talk about spring break. So this week I have some really exciting links as always. It's funny because this was a slow week and then all of a sudden I got bam, 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 all these links and I was really excited. And I want to give a hat tip first of all to all of the people, and there's a bunch of you, so I'm not going to name you by name, who tagged me in the article about the Oxford comma law case, if you guys heard that. So there was a case where a judge actually made a ruling based on the Oxford comma, and I love the Oxford comma. If you don't know what this is, it's okay because this is like nerd level awesome, where the Oxford comma is a comma before the and in a series. So if you're saying, I like cheese, your mom, and your dad, then that's a terrible example, but you would put, the Oxford comma would mean there's a comma after all the parts in the series. So after cheese, after your mom, and then there's the and then your dad. So yes. Anyway, thank you guys for tagging me in that. I do love the Oxford comma. I do love a good Oxford comma. So let's get into the links for today. So the first one, hat tip to Mary Dennis of WP Tech Cafe for this one. And this is from Georgia Lou Studios, and it's the right way to organize blog menus. And I have to say that this was so incredibly helpful. I remember a few years ago very distinctly being so proud of myself for organizing all the categories on my lifestyle blog under these great drop-down menus in the navigation bar up at the top of my website. And it took forever and it was like awesome. And one of the drop-downs even had like a second drop-down. And if you're like groaning, then you understand. And if you're like, I don't know why that's bad, then you need to read the article. It was really helpful, even though I know better than that. I just did some redesign on creative writing. You should head over and see because it looks great, I think. Don't tell me if it looks bad. If you think it looks bad, just gently say something nice and then give a suggestion. But I did some redesigning over there. And thanks also to Mary for digging me out of a hole when I lost things on there. But I had already redone my navigation bar, and after reading this, I did it again. So this is a really, really great post, and I appreciate Mary, who is our community kind of WordPress guru, for pointing that out. So a second one, and this one came across my desk like just today, and this is from Teachable. And Teachable, if you don't know, is an online course platform. So if you build an online course, you can host it there. It's a really great platform. I dabbled with it and then decided, at least for now, I want things on my own site, which is why I have the subdomain courses.creativewriting.com. But this article from Teachable is all about their top earners. So it's not about everybody that's making money on courses, but it's about the top people who are making money on courses. And it's really interesting. My big takeaway, I mean, they go really deep. This is a huge, huge post. So if you're interested in online courses, I would highly recommend it. One of my big takeaways was that the people who are earning the most don't necessarily have the most courses or the most students. So part of that has to do with pricing. But I think it was really interesting and kind of freeing to know that you don't have to have 40 courses or even like, I think the top people, and now of course I'm not going to be able to find the data, but I think the top people had less than 500 or kind of between 500, less than 1,000, I'll say, kind of summarizing. And then also, most of the top schools had less than 5 courses, like 5 or less courses. So 5 or less courses, 1,000 or less students. That means you're having a more expensive course, obviously. However, think about how awesome that is. Think about how reasonable it is. I feel like what that really means to us is that you don't need a million students. You don't need a million courses. You need a solid idea executed well for a particular audience. And so that's a really great post to read if you're thinking about building an online course. Really helpful stuff there. And I think even just as a takeaway for kind of considering about anything that you're thinking about building or doing with your audience, you don't have to do 1,000 things for 20,000 people. You need a smaller group that's more targeted and something that really reaches to them. And then my third link, because I do have 3, I was just going to have 2, and then that Teachable one came. This one is from Blog Tyrant, and Ramsey from Blog Tyrant is one of my favorite bloggers. I'm just a huge fan of his. He posted a comprehensive guide on how to write effective post titles. And it's got some really great graphics in there and has a whole lot to say, because the thing is, whether we're talking about email subject lines or blog post titles, it's really important. And he even talks about keywords, but he also talks about how it looks like. He has a great screenshot of like the subject lines on your phone and how those look. So it goes through a whole lot of things and how to kind of edit this. And if you think this isn't important, it really is. It really is important, because it gets people opening your email and it gets people opening your blog post and clicking and sharing. And so this is super, super effective. And there's a lot of comments on there on this post. And so he is asking people to share their most, I guess, successful titles. And so I'm not seeing a whole lot in the comments. A lot of comments, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of people sharing theirs. A few people did, but if you want to go share yours, he is always responsive to his comments, which is a great thing about him, that he is very hands-on. When he publishes a post, he sends an email and then he says, go hang out in the comments. And then he waits and he sits and replies. So as I'm scrolling down through the 86 comments, he is responding to every comment on there. They're the most recent ones. And if he doesn't respond, he's probably asleep because he lives in Australia. And so that was a really helpful post for you guys this week. Couple other things from me this week. So from me, I was on the Influencer Entrepreneurs podcast with Jenny Melrose. And I'm going to leave a link to that. I haven't said this yet. If you guys are listening to this and you want all of these links and you don't want to have to go Google them, you need to sign up for my mailing list. And so it's creativewriting.com/quick fix, because every Friday I do this quick fix podcast episode and then the email goes along with it. And if you're signing up today, you're like, oh man, the email already went out. Well, that's okay, because when you sign up, you're going to get access immediately to all the archives. So you can see what I sent last week and the week before. And it's in a really cool document called Wordflowy, which is not going to be overwhelming. So you're going to go in and be like, this is so clean and refreshing for a whole lot of links. Well, yes, it is. So if you want that link, but I will share the link for that. And I'm talking about social media and all kinds of growth. So Jenny is a very successful blogger. It used to be the New York Melrose family, but I think it's now just the Melrose family because they moved from New York to North Carolina, another great state. So I would love for you guys to go listen to that. I've actually got a whole lot of podcasts that I'm going to be on kind of coming up. So I'll be sharing those with you guys as well. And as a last thing, I do want to mention, I am deep in the throes of the Profitable Blogging Summit, and I keep having people ask where they can sign up. I have not talked about it in blog posts on my site. I've just talked about it kind of here. You can go to creativewriting.com/PBS17 for Profitable Blogging Summit 17 to sign up for that. But it is coming up, and I wanted to let you guys know that even though I'm in the midst of that, I do have space. I don't promote this very often, but I do have space. I am taking coaching clients, and I have a couple different packages for you guys to choose from. I've done a lot of work with a lot of you on different things, but if you do want something more hands-on, if you want to get my eye on your work and do that, I have the coaching coming up. And I also am going to be opening the doors to the Creative paid community again, which they opened in the fall and then I closed them. And I've been kind of working with those people and hammering out what exactly that's going to look like with a really awesome group of people that you will already recognize if you're in our Facebook group, the free Facebook group. So if you want to see what's happening for free, you can go to creativewriting.com/community to hang out in our free group. But there is a much smaller, like under 30 people paid group where we talk and chat and do kind of group coaching kind of stuff. So that will be coming up as well. So just, if you want to work with me one-on-one, I'll leave the link in the show notes, but it's on it's one of the few things I left in my nav bar as a work with me tab up there where I talk about the different packages that I have, and I can create a custom package for you as well. So if you don't see what you're looking for, if you want something more long-term, or if you want me to look at something different than what I've offered, just talk to me. And if I don't feel like I can do it, I'm not going to do it, you guys. So that's my thing. Well, that's it for today. Spring break edition was actually pretty quiet. I'm shocked and surprised. And this week I did not choose ahead of time a featured community member because spring break means that I am barely online at all. And I like to be able to pull links and look for people. But I'm super thankful to all of you guys who are in the community, who are hanging out on my email list and hitting reply. For those of you who are hanging out in my Facebook group. And I will give a shout out to a couple of people posted in creative writing, but Sarah Jordan Panning is the one who posted on my Facebook wall first about the Oxford comma story. And I'll leave a link to that as well in the show notes. So, anyway, I'm so thankful for you guys listening and being a part of the community. Again, if you're not getting the emails, creativewriting.com/quick-fix, and I'll be in your earbuds on Monday. Have a great weekend.
I